Hello, friends, and welcome to this week's HoneyCast. I am super excited to be here and talk to you about a topic that I hear all the time. There is a lot of frustration around this topic. And the topic is, why is it so hard to lose weight over 40? There are a lot of different factors at play, and the first couple, I just want to go ahead and share with you what they are, then we'll talk about them. But it's all of these working together are contributing to slow weight loss. So it's not just one of these things, but it's several of these together. So the main reasons why it is harder to lose weight after 40 is because our metabolism changes. It is because our hormones decline, which actually play into our metabolism. It is lifestyle factors that aren't dialed in that are stressing our body, such as not getting proper sleep, not getting proper hydration, not dealing with stress. We have psychological factors that our body is changing. And then at the end of all of that, I want to give you some strategies for success. I have worked with hundreds of women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. One thing I can promise you, you can lose weight over 40, but it's going to take a lot longer. I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but I will say, as a trainer and as a coach for many years, I have noticed how much harder it is when women hit menopause. It starts in our 40s, and as we age, if we're not doing some strategic eating and exercise and dialing in those lifestyle factors, then we're going to have a hard time losing, and we may even be gaining weight. I hear this from women all the time. They will say, I remember when I started gaining weight and I wasn't doing anything differently. The average amount of weight gain for women postmenopausal is 10 pounds. Most of the women that I'm working with are needing to lose more than 10 pounds. That's 10 pounds on top of what they were already trying to lose before they hit those latter years, our midlife years. But I do want to give you some hope. First, I want you to understand what's going on. If we don't really understand what's going on, then how can we fix it, right? So the first thing that I want to talk about is how our metabolism changes. Now, science shows us that we're born with a metabolism that honestly doesn't change. It changes the first 2 years. It's the highest that it ever is going to be, from 0 to 2. Then we have a pretty steady metabolism from 2 really until 60. At 60, there is a noticeable change in metabolism. But what's happening is influences on our metabolism are bringing our metabolism down. So even though just because we're aging, you would think metabolism is already declining, it actually doesn't start declining until we're 60 and after 60. So when that is happening, it's because of lifestyle factors. It's because of what we're doing that is impacting our metabolism. So what is our metabolism? Basically, it's your ability to take fuel and burn the fuel. Burning our own fat for fuel, burning through our macros. That's what our metabolism is. And some of the things that happen as we age that impact our metabolism are our hormones, definitely how much we're moving, sleep, and stress. And so the good news is we can definitely hold on to our metabolism, our good metabolism. And we're going to talk about that at the end, but that's the good news, is that it doesn't have to decline. The other major thing that's happening here that is a big reason for slow weight loss, that is the hormonal changes that are going on. When estrogen is leaving, when testosterone, progesterone, all of those are declining, it is going to impact our glucose regulation, that's our blood sugar. It's going to affect our insulin. It's going to cause some insulin resistance, which is going to put our body in more of a fat storage mode instead of a burner mode. And it's the hormonal influence is part of why we gain weight in our belly, in our abdomen. So when estrogen is in the picture, estrogen tells fat where to be distributed. Normally, that's going to be in our womanly places. We are all different sizes. Maybe if you're pear-shaped, you're going to gain weight in your breasts or your arms, your glutes, your legs. But as we age and we lose that estrogen, belly fat is where the fat is distributed because we have low estrogen, we have a higher level of androgen compared to estrogen, and we have cortisol receptors all around our abdomen. So as stress goes up, as estrogen declines, that belly, the fat is going to accumulate around our belly. So the reason why that happens is because of the hormones that are declining. Now, we have to talk about lifestyle factors here. That is the nutrition. How are you feeding your body? What are you giving your body? What's at the end of your fork? How are you managing stress? And are you sleeping? Those are crucial. Sleep is so important, and it can really put a wrench in weight loss when we're not getting recovery during our sleep time. Stress. So when estrogen leaves, we have higher cortisol levels. And cortisol, in the right time, we need cortisol. But when we have chronic cortisol levels and we have stress that's happening, the stress is going to cause our body to store more fat. And so we really want to be looking at how to manage stress, how to get better sleep, and really how to take care of yourself. The things that you could do in your 30s to your body, to our bodies could handle so much more. We're more resilient, and our body wasn't necessarily seeing all of those things we did as stress. But when we don't have the hormones and we're still doing all the things, our body is stressed. When it's not sleeping, that's stress. When we're feeding our body junk, that's a stressor. Of course, we have lifestyle stressors, not sleeping, all of that. Over exercising can be a big stressor. It can raise those cortisol levels. So when we have elevated cortisol levels, we are going to have some level of insulin resistance. And when that happens, we're going to be in fat storage mode. So in a nutshell, we go into more of fat storing after 40 because of those metabolic changes, because of the lifestyle issues, the lifestyle factors, and our hormones. Now, as far as exercise and movement, with it being hard to lose weight in midlife or beyond, a lot of times we don't have the energy that we used to, and so we sit more. We don't move as much. Believe it or not, that everyday movement, which is called NEAT, is very important for not only overall health, but weight loss. Believe it or not, it is a factor of why we're not losing weight after 40. We are not moving as much. The other opposite of that would be you are over exercising. If you are doing long, steady state exercises, 45 minutes to an hour, jogging or on the elliptical, on the treadmill, those are not the best training zones to be in. That's going to work against you. What we need to build muscle, and we need polarized training, more recovery. So if you're over exercising, you're going to be working against yourself. You're going to be raising cortisol levels, breaking down muscle instead of building muscle, and increasing in belly fat. So if we're not moving enough, that's going to contribute. And if we are doing too much of the wrong exercises, that is what's going to contribute to slow weight loss. So I want to give you some strategies for success. And let's first of all talk about how to best support our metabolism. The best way to support your metabolism is to give your body the nutrient-dense foods that it needs and heavy weight training. Those are going to be the top two things that you can do. And if we're taking a look at, what do I need to be eating? Here are some guidelines. You want to be eating nutrient-dense foods such as whole foods little foods that are in package. We don't want to spend a lot of time on processed foods and the bad oils and the white sugar and the white flour. Those are the things that are going to cause more belly fat. They're going to cause inflammation, which is going to cause more belly fat. So we want to have an anti-inflammatory diet. That is why I love Trim Healthy, because everything that Trim Healthy teaches is all about the whole foods, and all of the foods that are on plan are going to be a part of helping you in your midlife, but it needs to be done maybe a little bit differently than you've been doing it before. So the main thing is that your protein is king. Your protein, 4 doses a day, anchoring every meal and snack with your protein is key for metabolism and for fat loss. Getting that at least 30 grams at breakfast is what I shoot for. You want to start your day building. You want to start thermogenesis. You want to start your metabolism being revved. You want to start feeding your muscle. Your muscle is your metabolic currency. It is going to be the number one thing that you can do to really turn on fat burning and also avoid bone loss, muscle loss, and really to increase your longevity. So that the nutrition part is going to be based around that protein, and we're going to have our slow burning carbs in the right setting. We are going to do something a little different with our fats. We're going to go to a light S mentality, a light fat focused meal. That's going to be around 15 grams of fat. I usually look at my thumb. 2 thumbs is about the amount of fat that your body can burn through as we're aging. Because as we're aging, our fat cells can actually get a little clogged. And when we're giving it lots of heavy, dense foods, and dairy can be some of those, and lots of red meat, another one, then sometimes our body isn't able to burn through that current fat and then burn through our own fat, which is the whole concept of Trim Healthy, and also fuel separation. We want to burn through the current fuel that is giving our body what it needs, and then we want to burn through our own fat. So with those meals, we're going to go a little bit lighter with our S meals or our satisfying meals. You're going to make sure that you're getting your low glycemic carbs. When you don't have estrogen, you need carbohydrates. That's your energy. Carbohydrates are going to have your B vitamins, are going to have your vitamins and minerals and flavonoids and polyphenols, and they're also going to feed good gut microbiome, which is also key for fat loss, for metabolism, and for overall health. So those carbohydrate meals, we don't need to be afraid of them. We just need to be doing them in a smart way. What is the smart way? Everybody's going to be a little bit different with this, depending on where you are with insulin resistance, whether you're pre-diabetic, diabetic, but we're going to look at the range of 25 to 45 grams of carbohydrates, whole foods at your meal, anchored with 20 to plus grams of protein, and you're going to have at least 1 teaspoon of fat. The fat is going to help with absorption of the nutrients. It's going to help with blood sugar levels, and the protein is also going to help with blood sugar as well and feeding muscle. So I like to suggest at least 2 of those energizing meals a day. You're going to go lighter with your S, with your fats. And we want to focus on fats that are more, I guess, less dense. And those would be fats like avocado and nuts and seeds, walnuts, nuts and seed butters, MCT oil, things like that. Our dairy, we want to focus on fermented dairy. Fermented dairy is so good for your gut. It can also help turn on fat burning. Kefir, homemade kefir is amazing if you can spend some time in making that. It really isn't that hard to do. And we just want to avoid, and maybe not all the way avoid, but limit. We're just going to limit those heavy, like whole cream or heavy cream, butter, coconut oil, some of these, hard cheeses, some of the cream cheese, sour cream, all of those that are just a little bit dense. And I don't say break up with those unless you have some type of intolerance, which that's another thing that happens as we age, is our gut microbiome begins to change because we don't have estrogen anymore. And so those symptoms like bloating and indigestion and constipation and things like that can come about. So we really want to focus on the foods that are going to give us going to feed our gut microbiome. And so that takes me to how important it is for us to have our vegetables for fat loss, for detoxification, for elimination, for feeding the good bacteria in our gut, for helping with insulin resistance, giving us the nutrients our body needs, the raw materials our body needs to function well. So when we're talking about nutrition, we're just going to avoid the white sugar and the white flour and the processed foods. And you can easily put together your meals, on-plan meals, where you are anchoring with protein and you're either having a carb-based meal or you're having a light fat-based meal and enjoying the food, because we don't have to feel deprived. Am I still going to have some treats? Absolutely. I'm going to make some on-plan treats using either some of the gentle sweet or stevia. Occasionally, I'm going to use some honey, and I'm not going to be feeling deprived, but I'm definitely not going to be indulging in a lot of the off-plan treats and sweets, because that is going to work against me. It's going to increase inflammation. It's going to increase belly fat. The quickest way to do that, to increase those things, is to have the white sugar and the white flour and the processed foods. It just is it causes inflammation, and it is definitely going to work against us. So with the nutrition, we're going to focus on whole foods. Exercise is also key. Heavy weight training is going to be the number one needle mover exercise for the woman in midlife and beyond who wants to lose weight and who also wants to become strong. We lose 3 to 8% of muscle every year, every decade after 30. And if we are not doing something to stop that, we are losing muscle, which we replace with fat. And like I said, fat is inflammatory. So the more fat we have, the more inflammation we have, and the more fat that we become. And so the way to stop that is to build muscle. Muscle is your wall. Muscle is going to help increase your metabolism. It is going to help you remain strong. It is also going to work with you in, besides losing weight, just overall longevity. Muscle is our longevity organ. So the weight training needs to be a priority. And then aside from that, the high intensity interval training and the sprint training would be the next piece to put in there. The shorter burst with more recovery is going to give you more bang for your buck. You're going to burn more calories at rest, even after you're done with your workout. You're not going to overtax your body, but you're going to give it enough to get breathless, to work those fast twitch fibers, and to really help your metabolism. So those are the two needle moving type exercises for the woman over 40. Some more strategies would be making sure that you're working on those lifestyle factors of sleep and stress. So if you're having trouble sleeping, I would look at your sleep routine. What have you got going on? Are you doing things each night to help set yourself up for good sleep? Are you turning off the blue lights 2 to 3 hours before bed? Are you sleeping in a cold room? You can use some sleep aids, even some chamomile tea or sleepy time tea or melatonin or CBD oil. There are things that you can also use to help you go to sleep and stay asleep. And then for those of us that are in menopause, that are waking up with the crazy brain at 3 a.m, sometimes that can be cortisol related. Sometimes that can be blood sugar. So you're going to make sure that you're anchoring with every meal with protein well throughout the day. And for that, sometimes you just can't do anything about that. But managing that is key. And so one of the things that I do is I have a meditation app. And if I wake up and my brain is racing, first of all, I do deep breathing. I do box breathing, which helps kind of calm down the nervous system. So I do 3 sets of 10 deep breaths, and I breathe in for a count of 4, and I hold it for a minute, or not a minute, I hold it for a little bit, and then I breathe out for another count of 4 and hold it for just maybe a few seconds. And I do that. That will calm down my nervous system. If my brain is still just going crazy, then I will put in my headphones and I have an app. There's a couple of apps that I like. Mine is called Breathe, and there are meditations, there are sleep stories, there's different things that I can use there just to kind of get myself through and back asleep. The worst thing that you can do is actually get up and start doing something. I was terrible about that. I would get up at 3 a.m. and work or answer emails, and then I was just stressed from 3 a.m. on the rest of the day, and then of course tired. So light is important. Sleeping in a completely dark room, and as the evening wanes, our lights are low. First thing in the morning, look at the light. I sleep in a very dark room. First thing in the morning, I open up my curtains and I look at the light, and that tells your body to let's wake up. Let's start making some cortisol. So getting your sleep rhythm is important. Not going to bed too late at night. If you are a night owl, I would suggest that you start working on backing up that sleep. If you are wanting to lose weight and you are not sleeping, I'm going to tell you it's going to be very difficult. So I just encourage you, if you're frustrated with this area, that keep working on it. Keep trying different things. Try one thing at a time and just really be intentional about your sleep. Same thing with stress. Taking breaks during the day when you need it. Taking several walks outside, you guys. Outside with light and nature these things are simple. These things are God-given for us that we can do that actually help reduce cortisol. It helps reduce stress. So I do some deep breathing. I have an infrared sauna, which I love, love, love. Talk about helping me detoxify and also relax. Love that sauna. Like I said, getting out in nature, journaling, maybe even taking a break and resting, listening to a meditation, talking to a friend, whatever you need to do to de-stress, it's going to help you with weight loss. So dialing these all in together sometimes is kind of hard. I totally get that. So I would suggest, which of these areas for you do you feel like is the glaring problem? I would start there and get a plan of what you're going to do. Pick one thing, whether it's sleep, or maybe it's your nutrition, or maybe it's start exercising. Pick one thing and start with that one thing and be as consistent as you can until you get that into your habit. And I want you to manage your expectations. I see this all the time. Women will start doing something or lots of things and they don't see results, and so they're frustrated and they quit. I'm actually going to be talking about that in the next podcast because this is more of a mindset and less of a what can you do in the natural about this? In the natural, you will want to coach yourself and realize, okay, this is going to take time. I'm investing in me and I'm important, and I'm not going to be committed to the scale. I'm going to be committed to these habits that my body needs, and my body is going to respond to these. And so you go from a scarcity type mindset to a growth mindset. Does it serve you at all to stay in that fear and discouragement and disappointment? Does it help you at all? Absolutely, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, it'll lead you to quit. It'll lead you to not stick with those habits. So I want you to get your mind geared on this is a lifestyle. And this is going to take some time. And when you do get the pieces of the puzzle dialed in, then you will start seeing results. And I love it. I just got a message from one of the members that went through my Feminine Freedom Pathway group. She actually started in my tribe, which is my membership, and then she was struggling and not able to stay on plan and had a few hiccups, and she would stay on plan for a bit, lose some weight, and then she'd go off, and then she'd gain it, and back and forth, and finally she was tired of that. And so she joined my Feminine Freedom Pathway program. And in 6 months, she was finding that she was more consistent, and she was down 20 plus pounds in 6 months. That was last year. And so she is still working on this. And this is actually a year plus later. And I just got this message from her. It blessed me, and I'm sharing it with you because if you just stay in it and you do these things, you really will see the results. But we can't let that discouragement keep us from showing up for ourselves. So this is what this client said. She said, "For the first time in my entire life, I am doing this. The on-plan eating, daily walking, and weight training. all at the same time. I'm actually crying about it, LOL. I can't express enough gratitude for your extremely patient coaching and faithful cheering. This process is sometimes painfully slow for me, but at the same time, I hardly recognize the person I'm becoming. Thank you for all you do. You have changed my life. And I am so excited to share this with you guys. This is a year and a half plus. So if you scroll on Facebook or wherever and you're seeing these programs that are promising quick weight loss in midlife, I'm just going to tell you, it doesn't work that way. We really have to put on the patience. And I love it that this particular client is still in it. She's still working on it. And guess what? It took her a while to get all of those things dialed in. She had the support, she had the patience, she stayed in it, she had the community, and that is what you can have as well.